You know, there are some moments in life you can't explain. Not with logic, not with words. You just feel it deep like your soul got quiet. And for the first time, you finally heard something. That's what happened to me when I landed in Mecca. Now look, I've been blessed to go a lot of places. Paris, Dubai, Johannesburg, the Bahamas. I done seen a lot of beauty in this world. But this was different. When I stepped out that bus and saw the Kaaba for the first time, man, listen to me, I froze. Thousands of people moving in perfect circles, whispering prayers in 100 different languages. No one shouting, no one pushing, no one fighting, just hearts all turned in the same direction. And right there in the middle of it, that black cube, simple, quiet, and yet you could feel it like the air around it was alive. I remember my guide saying, "Brother Steve, take your time. Don't rush your first sight." And boy, I couldn't rush if I tried. My knees got weak. My chest got tight. I felt tears coming before I even knew why. And I thought to myself, man, what is this feeling? It wasn't fear. It wasn't pride. It was something else. Something I never felt. Peace mixed with awe. Humility wrapped in love. See, when you've lived a long life, had fame, success, laughter, pain, you start thinking you've seen it all. You think ain't nothing left on this earth that can shake me. But then you stand in front of that Kaaba and it hits you. You've been missing something real your whole life. I saw people cry. I saw people smiling through tears. Old men leaning on canes, little kids running around, women whispering prayers with hands raised to the sky. And I realized everybody there, no matter who they were, where they came from, was saying the same thing. Here I am, O Allah. Here I am. And that line, it broke me because for the first time, I understood this wasn't about religion as a label. This was about surrender, real surrender. Now let me be real with y'all. Before this trip, I didn't even plan to go. I had folks telling me, "Steve, that's a Muslim thing. You don't need to go there. Why would you travel halfway across the world to walk in circles?" But something in my heart just kept whispering gold. I didn't understand it, but I listened. And now I know that whisper wasn't for me. When I walked into that mosque, the Grand Mosque, and I saw millions of people moving together like waves in an ocean, that's when it clicked. This is unity. This is humility. This is peace in its purest form. No VIPs, no cameras, no fame, just souls, equal. The rich and the poor, shoulder to shoulder. The king and the janitor, bowing to the same God. You know what that does to a man like me, someone who's lived in the world of celebrity, ego, and attention. It humbles you. It strips you down to what really matters. Because when you stand in that crowd, you realize all the stuff we chase, money, fame, applause, none of it's coming with you. Not the cars, not the suits, not the followers. All that's left is your heart. And in Mecca, you can't hide what's in it. Now, let me tell you something that shook me. I was watching an old man, probably 75, maybe older. He was walking slow, barely lifting his feet, but he refused to stop. Every time he passed the Kaaba, he whispered, "Subhanallah," every single time. And I thought, man, that's devotion. That's what faith looks like when it's deep in your bones. I started thinking about my own life. How many times had God helped me, and I didn't even stop to say thank you? How many times had I prayed only when I needed something? In that moment, all those memories came flooding in. The near misses, the second chances. The closed doors that turned out to be blessings. And I realized God had been looking out for me my whole life. And now, for the first time, I was standing in his house. Man, that'll mess you up in the best way possible. And that was just Mecca. I hadn't even reached Medina yet. Because when you step foot in Medina, that's a whole different kind of peace. That's the city of the Prophet Muhammad. And let me tell you, you feel his presence in that air. But I'll get to that in a bit. Because what Mecca did was break me down so Medina could build me back up. You know how sometimes you can hear peace before you even feel it? Like before you even step out the car. You just know the place you're about to walk into. Ain't like anywhere else you've been. That's what Medina was for me. After Mecca, I didn't think nothing could top that. I mean, how do you beat standing before the Kaaba? How do you beat watching millions of people pray in perfect harmony under one sky? But man, when that bus rolled into Medina and I looked out the window, I swear to you it felt like the whole city was breath peace. There was no rush, no noise, no chaos, just this stillness. Like God had placed a calm right over that land and said, "Here, rest." And as we got closer to the Prophet's mosque, my guide turned to me and said, "Brother Steve, when you enter Medina, you enter a place that even angels guard. So whatever you're carrying, pain, pride, worry, leave it outside." And that hit me, man, because I realized I've been carrying a lot. Success is heavy. Failure is heavy too. And the older you get, the heavier that bag gets. You got regrets, Missed chances, guilt, all of it. But when I stepped into that mosque, I felt lighter, like somebody just took half the weight off my soul. Now let me tell y'all, that mosque is something else. You walk in, and it's like the air itself is different. Cool, calm, and filled with the scent of prayer. People sitting on the floor reading Quran, brothers greeting each other with smiles that don't need words. And in the center of it all, peace. A peace so thick you could feel it sitting on your skin. My guide took me to the area they call Rala, the place between the Prophet Muhammad's home and his pulpit. They say it's one of the gardens of paradise. And let me tell you, you feel that truth before anybody even says it. When I walked in, I couldn't even talk. For a man who makes his living with words, that's saying something. I just stood there, hands trembling, heart pounding, eyes stinging. I whispered, "Peace be upon you, O messenger of God." And man, I broke. I don't know what it was. Maybe the years of hearing about him. Maybe all them Muslims I'd met who spoke his name with such love. Maybe just standing there realizing this man changed the course of human history. Not with weapons, not with money, but with mercy. But I started crying, not out of sadness, out of gratitude. Because in that moment, I felt like I understood something for the first time in my life. The reason Muslims love him so much, it's not worship. It's respect. It's love for a man who showed the world how to love God and love people right. And I'll be honest with you, I thought about Jesus too. Because I realized both these men, Jesus and Muhammad, they lived to teach humanity how to serve, how to forgive, how to rise above hate. They weren't competitors. They were brothers. And that realization, it blew my mind. After praying, I sat outside the mosque for a while just watching people. There was this little boy, couldn't have been more than 6, holding his daddy's hand. They were both dressed in white. The boy looked up and said, "Baba, can we go greet the Prophet again?" And the father smiled and said, "Of course, my son." And I smiled through my tears. Because that's love being passed from one generation to the next. That's faith being taught not with fear, but with joy. It got me thinking. I spent my whole life teaching folks how to laugh, how to hustle, how to dream. But maybe I ain't taught enough about peace. Because peace ain't something you buy. It's not a vacation spot or a new car. It's a state of the soul. And in Medina, I found out what that really means. Now let me tell you all this funny thing that happened too. I'm sitting on the marble floor outside the mosque, just taking it all in. And this old brother comes up to me, could barely speak English. And he hands me a date, just one date. He says, "From Medina, my brother. Bless it." And I'm thinking, man, I just met this dude. He ain't even got a basket of them. He just gave me his last one. So I took it. And when I bit into it, I don't know if it was the fruit, the moment, or the love behind it. But it was the sweetest thing I ever tasted in my life. And I thought, that's Islam right there. It's simple, is generous. It's from the heart. Later that night, I sat alone in my hotel room, staring out the window at the lights of Medina. And I said to myself, "Steve, what you just saw, what you just felt, that ain't coincidence, that's a call. Because God don't just show you peace like that for nothing. He's inviting you to step closer, to trust deeper, to live better." And I realized all my life I'd been talking about success. How to make it, how to keep it, how to climb that ladder. But in Medina, I learned something far more important. How to bow. Because success without submission is empty. But submission to the one who made you, that's real freedom. And as I looked out at that city, I thought of every prayer I ever said. Every time I asked God for help, for guidance, for mercy. And how he never stopped listening, even when I didn't deserve it. And I knew right then this trip wasn't a vacation. It was a revelation. I tell you, when you go to Medina, you don't come back the same. That place changes your walk. It changes your voice. It changes how you see people and yourself, because once you felt peace that pure, you can't go back to chaos the same way. You ever have one of those moments where you know you ain't never going to be the same again? Like you can just feel that something in you shifted and it ain't going back. That's what happened when I left Medina. We were driving out of the city and I was sitting by the window just quiet. Now you got to understand that's rare for me. Steve Harvey don't sit quiet too often. But man, that silence, it felt sacred. I was looking out at the soft light over the desert and I realized this journey didn't just show me Islam. It showed me myself. It showed me what's been missing. Not money, not fame, not another show or another deal. But that thing deep down inside that keeps you steady when the world goes crazy. Peace with God. You see, I've been blessed in my life. God gave me success beyond anything I could have dreamed coming out of Cleveland. But I also been broken, lost everything twice, made mistakes, let people down. And through all that, I kept thinking peace was something I could earn. But in Mecca and Madina, I learned peace ain't a paycheck. It's a gift. You just got to be humble enough to receive it. As we drove, my guide looked over and said, "Brother Steve, Medina is not a place you visit. It's a place that visits you in your heart every day after you leave." And man, that hit me deep because he was right. Even now, sitting halfway across the world, I still feel that calm, that sense of purpose, that reminder to slow down, to be grateful, to remember who's in control. Let me tell y'all something. I ain't ashamed to say it. I cried again on that bus. I wasn't crying because I was sad. I was crying because I was full of peace, full of gratitude, full of this feeling like I finally understood what faith is supposed to feel like. When I got back home, people started asking me, "Steve, what did you see over there? What did you find?" And I told them, I didn't go there to find something new. I went there to remember something old, because every soul, no matter where you're from, no matter what religion you belong to, you got that voice inside you whispering the same truth. There's one God, love Him, serve Him and love His people. That's the message I saw in Islam. That's the message I seen in Christianity. And that's the message the world done forgot. Now listen, I ain't sitting here saying I'm perfect, or I got it all figured out. But I'll tell you this, when you walk through Medina, you feel like you walking in a man's footsteps who did. The Prophet Muhammad, he lived a life of mercy, patience, and strength. And I realized if I could carry even 1% of that spirit into my life, I'd be a better man. I remember standing at the airport before flying home, looking back one last time, and I said a prayer. I said, "Lord, thank you for showing me peace. Thank you for showing me humility. And thank you for reminding me that all greatness starts with gratitude." You see, what I learned out there, it ain't about being Muslim or Christian or any label we put on ourselves. It's about living with heart. It's about serving the one who made you. And it's about treating His creation, every last one of them, with love and respect. Because at the end of the day, when you stand before God, He ain't going to ask how many followers you had or what brand of religion you wore. He gonna ask, did you love? Did you serve? Did you remember me? And man, that's what Medina taught me. It taught me that real peace don't come from success, don't come from applause, don't come from control. It comes from surrender, from saying, "God, you got this, and I trust you with it." So, if you ask me today what changed, I'd say this. I came back home with less fear, less pride, and more faith because now I know you don't need the whole world to love you. You just need peace with the one who made it. And maybe that's what the whole journey was about. Not just seeing holy places, but letting holiness touch you. Because once it does, you can't go back to being the same. Man, if you told me years ago I'd be sitting here talking about Medina, tears in my eyes, heart at peace, I'd have laughed you off the stage. But God got a way of taking you where you never planned to go so He can show you what you were always meant to see. So wherever you are in your life right now, pause, take a breath, and remember, peace ain't out there somewhere. It's waiting right inside you. The moment you stop fighting God and start walking with Him,